Wayno here from the Wayno Project. I am up and early on this beautiful morning. Hot day today, I think going to be about 96 here in the DMV area with humidity. So I need to get out early and get what I needed done today. But I had a lot on my mind, and I wanted to open up the lesson with a story of a man that went to the doctors with severe stress, pain in his leg, pain in his arm. 50-year-old guy, and went to the doctor. The doctor said, hey, I got this medicine that you should take every day, every morning. Take this medicine every morning for the next 2 weeks, and everything should be clear. So the doctor gave him the medicine, prescribed him the medicine. The man left the office, started taking the medicine, and right away, the symptoms cleared up. The arm pain that he came into the office was gone. The leg pain that he had was out. His energy returned back. And he was back locked and loaded. A month later, the doctor was asked, what did you give the guy, the 50-year-old guy that came into the office? And the doctor said, well, it was just it's a sugar pill. It was a fake pills. So if what the doctor prescribed to the gentleman was fake pills or sugar pills, then the ultimate question you should be asking is, okay, well then, how did this gentleman heal himself? How did he get well in 2 weeks? The answer is his belief. In the medical world, they call this the placebo effect. Right? There's always experiments. Anytime a new medicine come out, they give one group the sugar pill, the other group the real medicine. And the group that get the sugar pill tend to perform exactly the same or better than the group that had the real medicine. There's a lot of lessons to get out of the placebo effect, because it reveals something that's really mind-blowing, really, if you think about it that way. What the placebo effect reveals is that the mind can influence the body. It can influence the body by just simply the expectations and convictions of it. Right? That's the placebo effect, that your mind can influence your body with the conviction that you're going to be well, in the man's case. And it's, when the moment that the man believed, as soon as he got those pills from the doctor, he started believing was possible. And his entire system responded as if it was true. Now think about that for a second. Contemplate that for a second. If belief alone can change the chemistry change the chemistry, the dynamics of a body, then your job should be to master the power of the mind, right? The unseen, mastering the belief and conviction in what you want done. So this was on my mind this morning, and in this lesson, I'm going to show you another way to understand how to manifest your desires through the power of your mind, and understand your environment through a quantum perspective. I want to ask, what is something you do that make you feel certain? It could be anything. It's that one thing that you do, or a few things you do, but that one thing that you do that makes you feel certain when it comes to just anything that you want. A lot of people got a lucky shoes that they put on to feel that certainty, or a chain, or a specific watch that they wear, or a favorite color. Remember back in the old days, back in the 90s, late 80s, 90s, it was, you'll always see the rabbit. You remember the rabbit foot? You always see the rabbit foot in the cards, in the mirrors. If you can remember those days. Some people look at loved ones, the picture of the kids, before any type of big decisions or anything that they need certainty around. If you are a golfer, you remember the days of Tiger, when Tiger was cooking. And if you got to Sunday and Tiger was around the leaderboard and that red polo come out, and you knew what was in effect with Tiger when he pulled out the red polo shirt on Sundays, right? You remember those days, right? But again, the question, I want you to think hard through this. The question is, what is that one or two things that you use or do that brings certainty? That brings that placebo that we've been talking about to you. One thing. Everybody's been around a pool hall where folks are shooting pool, and you can see some folks got different techniques for how to shoot pool. Some people, turn their hand a certain way before they pre-shot. Same thing when you watch bowling. There's always some type of ritual somebody does before they bowl, right? Just trying to stretch your mind a little bit. The point I'm getting to when I talk about certainty, whether it's an item, clothing, pictures, the point is the object or technique, it really doesn't have no power. It doesn't have any power. The power is in the belief in the object or technique. the belief, right? The belief in the object and technique that creates that certainty, that confidence, that calmness that you need when it isn't something that you want. Last week, I was meeting with a client. I was out in down in Southern Maryland, meeting with a client, and I noticed he would knock on wood whenever a negative comment or outcome was mentioned. He'll knock on wood during our conversation. All right, like they're performing something. So this is a stadium right here. Where I'm at currently is the Washington Commanders Stadium. And it look like they're using the parking lot to perform some type of fire trucks, some type of exercise, look like it. But yeah, this is the Commanders Stadium. They're getting ready to move. They got a couple more years here at this stadium. What's called FedEx Stadium, now it's called Northwest Stadium. And they've been playing here since the 1990s, or 1999, I think, before Jack Cam Cook transitioned. 70,000, it was more than that. I think it was almost 100,000. They had to take out seats because of attendance and opponent fans taking over the stadium. But in a couple years, 2030, I believe the time target is that this, they're going to be moving to and back to DC, back to the RFK campus, which is where they belong. And for folks that are around the DMV, you remember this area was called Rajan. You remember they branded this area as Rajan as opposed to Landover. Everybody who's from this area know Landover, but they tried to brand it as Rajan, call it a different name, and it never worked. So it went back to Landover, Maryland, and that's where we are. There was lots of plans for this area, and those plans seem like they never worked out. If you know, you know. Just didn't work out here. All right, so I talked about last week, down in Southern Maryland, talking to a client, and every time there was something bad that came out, or comment or whatever, he'd knock on wood consistently. It wasn't like a one-off thing. It was like, yeah, if I don't get this client, man, that client said, it's like, okay. I know people that before they roll dice, they kiss the dice. Right? You know those type of people. We all can't forget about the old school classic Harlem Nights. Can you? Can you forget about that movie? That movie is the classic movie, Harlem Nights. But the scene, I think it was the opening scene of Harlem Nights, and they are in a tight room. By the way, a lot of legends in that movie. Pryor, the late Richard Pryor, I think he was up dealing with his struggles at that period of time. Eddie Murphy was in there. Red Fox, Robin Harris. A lot of legends in that movie. But don't forget the opening scene in that movie where they're rolling dice. They're in it, and everybody's making jokes of the guy because he's been crashing out throughout. And he told everybody, I better not crap. His wife needs shoes, the kid need clothes, and somebody said, hey, you need teeth. Right, so they cutting up on him. And then he rolls, and he busts, he cracks. And everybody's laughing at him. And then he realized there's a little one that's in the room. So he immediately grabs Richard Pryor, who I can't remember his name right now, but Richard Pryor, and told him that I don't shoot with these kids in here. The kids bring him bad luck. You can remember that scene, right? Right. He told everybody that anytime he's shooting, the kid brings him bad luck. All right. So he blamed the kid for losing his money, and you know what the kid did to him for blaming him for the bad luck. But it brings back the point again. It's not the object, right? It's not the object. It's not the technique in shooting dice or pool or whatever. It's not the object. It's the belief or the conviction that it would deliver. Have you ever wondered why two people can do the exact same ritual and get completely different results? The results, again, are not, the power is not in the rituals. It's not in the technique. I've talked to entrepreneurs, business owners that can't get their day started without green tea. That's the only thing that will put them in a good mood for the morning is drinking green tea. Puts them in the right state of mind. Green tea. So I think you're getting the point, what I'm getting at. You know, the mind is powerful. Right? The mind is powerful. The mind influences your body when you truly expect something to work. It's the same principle when it comes to manifestation. When you're manifesting your desired reality, whatever technique that can influence your body, right? Whatever technique that can influence your body, your mind, to truly expect that it will work, then that's the technique that you should use for manifesting. There's always questions about, that this comes in, probably get about 5-7 questions every day about, I watch your videos, I'm checking you out on Instagram and TikTok, but I don't know which way I should be manifesting. Like, I don't know the right, if I'm doing the right techniques or what's the right techniques or tools I should be using to manifest. Again, don't outthink the room. Trying to, come up with the best techniques. You get what I'm saying? Don't overthink this on, what's the best technique for how I can manifest. The best technique is the one you believe in. When you believe in something when you believe something is going to happen, your energy is just much more stronger, right? Think about when you book a vacation. The trip may be about 3 months away, but the moment you buy the ticket, your energy changes. You're already imagining the experience. You're already emotionally there, right? The event hasn't happened though, but the state has already changed. That makes sense? That's the difference between hoping and having conviction. The folks that hope are never there, right? The folks that are hoping, never gets there. The folks that are convicted, can have conviction, is already there. That's what Yahshua, Jesus, meant when he said, when you pray, believe that you have received it and it would be yours. That's Mark 11:24. It's important. That's the conviction that I'm referring to. That's the placebo. Not hoping for it, but you believe is already there. You already have it. That's that Jalen Brunson conviction to take over a game in the fourth quarter. And that's that Jay-Z conviction to go off script and freestyle at the Roots Cookout, Picnic, or Yankee Stadium. Look like more tours are coming on. I don't know if it was freestyle or not, right? I mean, some people said that was written. Some people said that was off the cuff. I don't know. But it's a conviction behind it, right? The importance of conviction is it strengthens your frequency. That's what conviction is. It strengthens your frequency. You are sending out to the universe. And we all, if you've been listening to my lessons, that frequency, vibration is the language of the universe. So my point in all of this is you have to have conviction in your techniques. When you pray, when you meditate, when you visualize it's done, you're not secretly checking every day your bank account. I want to grow, sometimes the hardest thing for a high performer is, getting away from it, detaching from the desire, the goal. Checking the bank account all day long, checking the email to see if the contract landed, right? Checking to see if the loan has gone through, right? The question you have to ask yourself is, are you acting from certainty or are you acting from hope? Like a large amount of, there's a lot of stuff going on in the city today or this weekend. Look like this is a funeral line, but there's a lot of stuff going on for the celebration 250 downtown DC this weekend. I am pulling up over here. If you could see the landmark over here. This is Six Flags. This is the former, let me check that. This is the former Six Flags that was closed down last November 2025. So it's no longer in operations. And folks are wondering what's going to happen with this location. It's about 500 acres of property here. And people are pushing back and say, hey, we don't want a data center. So we're going to see how that develops out. But the Six Flags location here in Maryland. Kevin Durant has an investment team. I think a minority owner and investment team that's looking to, or I think has purchased the property. So we talked about a lot in this lesson. Powerful lesson about the mind, about the beliefs, about the conviction that you need to have. And regardless of field that you're in, niche that you're in, whatever you do, and if you're trying to manifest, think about this lesson today. Think about this opening with the 50-year-old gentleman that went to the doctor. Think about the many people that have persevered because of their conviction and what they believe in. When you have that conviction, you know you have it, right? You're not creating anything. You're just moving or making the invisible visible, right? You're selecting what you want, and now you're moving that invisible to the visible, which means manifesting is instant. It's not something that you wait on. It's not something that should take 10 years to do if you have conviction. Have you ever decided right away that you decided, I'm going to find a parking spot right up front, and one opens up right as you arrive at that location, the parking spot right up front? See how fast it can happen? See how fast you can manifest instantly? Have you ever been thinking about someone and suddenly you get a text from them? Instantly. Thought about an old friend. You haven't seen this friend probably in 10 years, and unexpectedly run into that friend. This is how manifestation works. So it's instant. A shift in your attention and expectations makes the opportunity, right, appears. You get what I'm saying? It becomes instant and real when you realize it's not about changing the outside of you. It's not something you change from the outside. It's about changing something that's within you. Get this lesson. Get this lesson for today. When you manifest, you visualize what you want. That's the invisible, right? That's the invisible. You visualize what you want. You bring it into the 3D. Bring it into reality. Which means you have to have faith in the unseen. That's the hard part. That is the hardest part. You can say that you want to be financially free. You can do the rituals. You can do the vision boards. But if you don't have faith in the unseen, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And sometimes this kind of, this wakes people up sometimes when I'm having this conversation, when I'm talking to potential clients or clients, about this topic right here. This is one of those topics that is a aha moment, or just a, whoa, because it goes against things that we've been taught as kids. Right? You can be be a good person. You can have good morals. Do everything the right way. Do everything. But if you don't have faith, conviction, then you're not going to be able to manifest your desires. I'm sorry. We see this all the time. Good people doing the right things, great morals, lots of hope, but never able to manifest or heal themselves or make themselves wealthy or whatever, put it in a blank. You could see a bad person with poor morals, poor morals, just overall not up to expectations. Let me say that. Doing everything the wrong way. But if they have strong conviction, they manifest their desired reality just like that. Simple as that. Just like that. Let's take a pause for the cause on what I just said, because this is a reflection moment that is an eye-opener for a lot of people. A lot of people that are committed to, just hoping, doing all the right things, you have good morals, you do everything the right way, and for some reason, you can never get to what your goals are. You wanted to be financially free. You've been working your job for 10 years. You've been building your business on the side. You have your goal of, if I can make $10,000 a month, I'm going to leave this job and become working for myself, self-independent. Do all the things the right way, but yet it never materialized. While another person who is poor morals, do everything the wrong way, but has strong conviction, manifests the financial freedom, manifests the leaving the job, financial independence. The universe doesn't care. Listen to me. The universe is not caring about your feelings. I know that goes against everything that you've been taught. If you are involved with the church, I know that goes against anything that you've been taught. But we have to speak truth today. This is for a mature mindset. There are universal laws They're human laws. These are universal laws. You break them, it don't treat you, it don't matter. Oh, he had a good day. He had a good day today. Let me go ahead and let him off the hook. No, that's not how the universe works. It's not the way it goes. Fire treats the good and the evil the same. It's not, a fire breaks out. It's not debating on how much of a good week this person had. Let me go ahead and pass him some bail. The rain will treat the good and the evil the same. It's not questioning, this person farm should not get any water this week because, I don't like how he was acting. All right? These are universal laws. These are universal principles. Something pops off, you in an office complex, you're on the 12th floor, and you break the window and jump. Gravity is going to treat you the same way as it treats anybody else. It's not going to hold judgment or anything based on the day you had. Now, with that being said, look at the world today. Look at reality that you are in today. How are some people able to get anything they want, while other people who pray, who do everything the right way, can never achieve what they want? Just look at the news today. Just look at what the highlights are today. It comes down to frequency. It comes down to your frequency, your vibration. One group is hoping that I become financially free, hoping that I get to 50K per month. The other group knows there's a conviction. It's already done. It's a reason why the rich get richer. Elon Musk IPO on Friday. He was at what, 9 billion? Richest man in the world? 9 billion. Now a trillion. That Mansa Musa. Anyway, let me stay on topic. $1 trillion net worth of Elon Musk. We have a person on the planet that's $1 trillion, that's worth $1 trillion based on the IPO. He was 9 billion. Larry Page, $3 billion. The rich get richer, regardless of their moral compass or their character. And this is a lesson. This is not judging or anything. I'm just giving a lesson. I'm not evaluating any of these individuals that I'm naming. I don't know them. Scripture says, whoever already has, more will be given. That's Matthew 13:12, I believe, 13:12. Whoever already has, more will be given. Matthew 13:12. Did you hear what? Did you get the scripture? Whoever already has it, more will be given. The people who already have confidence, faith, conviction, naturally attracts more. This is why the rich gets richer. This is why the poor get poor. People who don't have confidence, that don't have beliefs, naturally loses more. So you can see by scripture, the name of the game is frequency. How is your frequency? Today's climate, 2026, is meant to shake you up. This is a global shift that we're in right now, today. Global shift. There's constant reporting of, 2 years left remaining on the clock for many individuals because of AI, because of inflation, because of job loss, all of that. There is a threat that World War III can happen any moment, anytime. Business owners and entrepreneurs right now, it's just unpredictable times. All the subscriptions that you subscribe to, the AI tools, everything is going up. Inflation just not hitting regular folks, it's hitting the entrepreneurs as well. Tariffs is taking people out. There are viruses that are out there as well that's not being reported, so they say. These are frequency lowers. They lower your frequency. They get into your nervous system. When you see this and hear this all day, if you can't strengthen the awareness in you to be above the thought, right? You get the news, hey, this is about to happen. Hey, the Straits is open, it's closed, it's open, it's closed. Somebody's gonna get bombed out. If you are tied into that and you can't become aware, then your frequency is gonna be lower. Be aware of your thinking and patterns, right? We've done lessons on that. Check out my older videos. Know that you're not stuck. Do not let these folks trick you out of your spot with these 2-year plans and 1-year plans, and you might be stuck right now. You might be, I got a client right now, just, he knows I talked about him on these lessons. He runs a exotic car business, and he felt stuck. Okay, we've now done several sessions now, but when we first decided to work together, I mean, he was stuck. His business was spiraling. I mean, he was making $15K, it dropped to $7K. The fuel prices jammed him up. But he had bad reviews that came from smokes, cigarette smokes and marijuana smokes in the car, and some damages. There was all types of issues. AI wasn't working correctly as far as some of this automation. But on the mental side, he felt stuck. Like there was no other way for him to move out of this. There were no opportunities because everything was blaming. Everything was woulda, coulda, shoulda. He felt like his world was just a fix. Your world is not fixed. It might feel like it today, that everything is stagnated. You know, my business was doing well. I had a YouTube channel that got demonetized because I had too much AI slop on it. I was making 50K. Now I'm making 0. I have Amazon affiliate set up, so I'm still making like 3K. All right, that was one of the recent conversations back and forth. We might bring them on to the Pantherium X program I have. We'll see. Let me give you another way to think about where you are right now. If you feel like life has been stagnated, if you're stuck or you've been plateauing, I want to give you another way to view your reality so you can become the master of your reality. Okay, this is a scientific perspective. Okay, we gave you scripture earlier. We talked about the power of the beliefs. We talked about good morals, bad morals. We talked about the power of the mind through the placebo effect. We talked about the tools and everything that you know, the questions that folks have about tools and techniques when it comes to manifesting, right? Let's talk about the quantum world. Let's say that you're talking to your business partner. You look at them, you speak to them, right? You tell them, hey, what's up? And they respond back to you, what's up? Because they know you're interacting with them, right? That's why they respond to you, because you are interacting. You speak to them, they respond back to you. Let's say the same thing. You walk into an office. Okay? You walk into an office, and you got their office cubicles, and you stand and observe your employees. You might get a group of seven employees, 7 staff members that's supporting the business. You stand there, observe the employees. Most of the time, they behave differently because they know they're being observed, right? Now think about this in the quantum physics. Scientists say that particles behave differently when they are being observed. Okay, the particles, everything is particles, right? If everything is particles, it behaves differently when it's been observed. What changes the moment the observer is observing a tiny particle? It's an interesting question. It's an interesting question. What changes when the observer is observing the tiny particle? On the macro scale, you got to look at it from a physical. When you look at the physical world on the macro scale, let's just take a step back. When you look at the physical world on the macro scale, the physical world we see every day, right? It looks like it's fixed. Everything looks like it's just still. It looks solid. This tree right here looks fixed. The car is in front of me, a van right there, looks fixed, looks solid. But on the microscopic scale, at the level of molecules and atoms and particles, reality behaves differently. And so your awareness, your observation of the particle, your consciousness at the micro scale, right? The consciousness at the micro scale plays a deeper role in shaping your experience of reality, the micro scale, okay? Your consciousness, which is at the macroscopic, your consciousness at the microscopic scale plays a deeper role in shaping your experience of reality at the microscopic scale. So physical reality is not just something you're looking at. That's the point. It's something you're participating in. You're shaping and impacting the things around you right now. Does that make sense? Your awareness is playing a role in what you're experiencing right now. Everything is particles. So why is this important to know as an entrepreneur? Why do most people believe reality is fixed? Well, because their eyes tell them. Their senses are telling them that reality is fixed. That their bank account is fixed. Their circumstances is fixed. They're looking at what it is and assume that nothing can change because it's fixed. What I shared with you is a knowledge, a quantum physics knowledge for any entrepreneur today. Business owner, content creator, influencer, sales rep, real estate agent. If you feel jammed up right now or stuck at a certain income level or plateauing in income, understand that your reality isn't fixed. Everything is active. Active. Everything is intelligence, full of potential, full of possibilities. Everything. A quantum particle will know that you're looking at it by the way you look at it, and it reacts a certain way. And that really means that particles have some awareness and intelligence. Right? I'm looking at this steering wheel right now. The steering wheel knows that I'm looking at it. That means the steering wheel has something going on, some type of intelligence or awareness, right? Based on quantum, based on scientific studies. I'm not saying the particle is intelligent like a human being. We don't know that. We really don't know what level of awareness exists at the particle scale. That intelligence could be something extremely simple, like a plant, like this tree in front of me, or animal, how animals respond to its environment. But nobody knows. But what we do know is reality is responding to you. The particles are responding to you. That means everything is responding to you. So the most important question that you should be asking, that, hey, if reality is responding to me right now, then is the question, is this really about manifestation work? Right? It's not about, is it really about manifestation? Is the real question. Or is reality, what reality is responding to you right now? If reality is responding to you, what is the frequency you're delivering at this moment? That's the most important question. Doesn't matter about the manifestation. The observer effect works in two levels, right? When scientists looked at the particle, the tiny particle, the observer effect worked on two levels. The first was scientists used an instrument to measure tiny particles. Second, the act of measuring can affect how the particles behave. That's wild. Okay, you could measure the particle. second, the act of measuring affected how the particles behave. And that's wild. Does this all make sense? Do you understand what I mean when I say a particle doesn't behave the same way when it's left alone? Right? When you're not leaving it, it's not being observed. The word observer in physics is sometimes misleading, right? An observer can be a detector, a camera, a sensor, or anything that's a measuring device in the scientific studies. Right, that's how the whole, if you heard about the famous double slit experiment, where the electron created interference patterns when they are not being measured, right? Behaving like waves. But when scientists place a detector at the slits to measure which slit the electrons go through, the interference pattern disappears and the electrons behave differently. What this means is measurements affect outcomes. Measurements affect outcomes. Possibilities exist before a specific result is observed. So, without understanding these principles, many of the modern technologies that are used today, right, the MRI scanner, right, the laser, the quantum computing, what quantum physics does clearly show is that at the smallest scales, the act of measurement and the thing being measured cannot be separated. That's the lesson. The measurement becomes part of the event. You get what I'm saying? Now think about manifestation again. Everything comes from an invisible source, right? The law of mentalism, right? The world's mental. The invisible source, we can't see it with our naked eye, but it's still there. Right? Again, the law of mentalism. Everything that's been created started in the mind, started in the mental. And then it was pulled out of the mental into the physical reality. Everything that you want, your desires, are from an invisible source that you can't see with the naked eye, but it's there. If you think about it, everything around us comes from a place that we can't see. You can't see the radio waves, right? Right? You can't see it. You can't see Wi-Fi, but your tablet, your laptop connects to it. The same principle applies here when it comes to manifesting. So your goal, okay, what we've been talking about today, your goal is to bring yourself, your attention, focus, okay, focus into the alignment of what you want. Why? Because when your thoughts, your emotions, your actions are all moving in the same direction of what you want, you become a match for the future you're trying to create. Your frequency becomes a match with what you want. And you begin to bring that invisible into the visible. But your attention has to align with what you want. That makes sense? I'm gonna jump in this grocery store in a few minutes. Well, Once I finish this lesson, I'm gonna go into the grocery store here. But again, I know what I want when I'm going to the grocery store. So I go, pick it up, take it out, right? Pay for it, take it out. I select from the infinite possibility. There's many aisles in this grocery store. But my attention is on one thing. Same thing as manifesting. There's a field of possibilities to pick from. There's so many entrepreneurs, business owners reach out to me. They want to make $1 million a year. But when you start asking them the questions, the actions don't line up with a $1 million per year per person. Right? Gotta put your attention to what you want. We just talked about the quantum, the observer, part of the same event. Think about Netflix. I'm watching it right now, the documentary, the Thomas Jefferson documentary. Right? If I select an action movie or a documentary, I'm not going to receive a comedy. Right? I'm not going to see Kevin Hart's roast. You receive what you tune into. The same is true for what you desire. Steve Jobs didn't create the Apple out of nothing. This wasn't just, oh, I'm building Apple. Didn't come from nothing. Bill Gates didn't create Microsoft out of nothing. Sam Walton didn't create Walmart out of nothing. They pulled their ideas from the same place, the same bucket, the invisible field of possibilities, which we call the 4D, the quantum. That makes sense? The field of imagination. Some call it vision. Whatever, it doesn't really matter what the name you call it, the 4D. Doesn't matter the name. But think about the lesson, think about the lesson of anything that you want is already here. Just got to choose it. Michael Jackson, Tyler Perry, Tom Hanks, they're not creating from scratch. Bill Gates, like we talked about earlier, these people are pulling from the field of possibilities. They receive a vision, they align with the vision, they believe in the vision long enough, and they move with a conviction. Right? You remember in some of the stories that are coming up after this Michael Jackson movie, there's some of the things that are coming up about how he produced music. Michael believed that his music was a gift from God. He viewed himself as a vessel. And once he received it, he pulled from the field and delivered right away because he knew Prince was on that tail. That's what Michael would say, that if I don't get it, Prince is going to get this song from this field of possibilities. Can you see an opportunity that other people don't see? That's what creation really is. Look at the producers of today, of past years. How they make songs. A field of possibilities. They tune into the possibilities and become the person who could bring it out. Don't forget Mark said 10:27. Mark 10:27, Jesus looked at them and said, with man this is impossible, but all things are possible with God. Have faith in the unseen. Have conviction. So, powerful lesson today. As an entrepreneur, I mean, if you're thinking about manifesting your dreams, you should remember from today's lesson that everything is interacting with everything, right? The observer affects the particle, whether it's been measured or you're observing it, right? You're not separate for what you want. Put your attention to what you want and align with that version, that identity that you already have it. And to understand this, you have to see having from the perspective of the universe, right? We got to get away from the external world, the physical world. See having from, not from a human perspective. You got to see it from a universal perspective. These universal laws we talked about earlier, right? We talked about gravity is a law. It don't judge good or bad. It just happens. It's a law, right? There are laws that can't be broken by the universe. They're universal laws. Most humans define having, when you have it, as a physical thing, that you got it. Like you could touch it, you see it, you hold it. You want a car, you see the car, you touch it. That's having to most humans. But the universe is a little bit different. The universe, remember, the universe having is not about a physical possession. It's about a vibration, right? It's a vibrational possession. It's your current state of mind, the emotions, the beliefs, the conviction that you have, right? Because the universe is nothing but systems and patterns and balance. Vibration. So to have it in a universal perspective is a vibrational possession. And that's what matters with the universe. It doesn't care about what's happening in the physical world. That's what people get tricked up at. The physical world is simply a reflection of your inner state. As within, so without. What is real is the universe, the energy in the universe, the conviction, your frequency. So if you want to experience your desires in the physical world, you must first possess them internally. You must think, feel, and identify with the reality you want before it appears externally. That's the game. Have it within, and then it can be expressed without. As within, so without. A universal law, by the way. If you can clearly see in your mind what you want, then you already have it. If you can see in your mind $1 million, then you already have it. If you can see in your mind a new car, then you already have it. If you can see in your mind financial freedom, then you already have it. Again, this is what is meant in Mark 11:24. Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. So if you want a new home, believe that you have received it. If you want a new car, believe you have received it. If you want to grow your income in your business, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. If you can see it clearly in your mind, then you have received it. When Christ said, go into your room and shut the door, he was not talking about a physical room. He was talking about your mind. The secret room is your inner world. And shutting the door means blocking out the fears and distractions. Right? This brings up a whole of another bubble. You know, I mean, prayer is not just about asking for something that you don't have. It's about believing you already have it. As Christ taught, believe that you have received it. In other words, prayers is assuming your desire is already fulfilled. So the question as you reflect on this is, if you believe it's already done, what actions would you take next? All right? What action would you take next? If you believe it's already done, what actions would you take next? Second question for you is, what are you doing today that suggests you don't really believe your prayer, your manifestation has been answered? Think about that. So, this lesson is powerful today. Just give you another fresh way to think about manifestation. Now, of course, there is subconscious work that has to be done. In my one-on-one mentorship program, Pantherium X, I help people find the hidden subconscious blocks they cannot see on their own. If you're interested, links are in the description. Or you can download my free guide. I got a free guide called The Divine Identity Blueprint. Pick it up. Again, there's a link in the description, but check it out. Before we wrap today, I want to just push the envelope a little bit more, just get you to reflect on today's lesson. The lesson for today is this: the best manifestation technique is the one that delivers you the strongest conviction in what you desire. All right. The second lesson for today is, when you look at manifestation from a quantum perspective, from the quantum world, okay, from a scientific perspective, you begin to see that everything is connected. Right? Your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, they're all working together to give you your reality. That means every client, every subscriber, every customer, every partner, business partner, every person you meet, there is a connection there. Science calls this quantum entanglement. When two particles are connected, they can remain linked even when they are far apart across the world. Okay, quantum entanglement. Most people heard about the entanglement when, you remember Jada Pinkett Smith? She said that she had an entanglement, which was describing her romantic relationship with R&B singer August Alsina. I haven't heard from him in a long time. What is he doing? That's not a shot, just trying to, I can't, I wonder what he's doing. But the entanglement piece is the first time people ever heard that. You know, if you watch Paradise Paradise 2, the second season of Paradise. They were pushing quantum entanglement throughout that season too, if you can remember. You remember the nosebleeds that were happening throughout? You know, Xavier was getting the nosebleed, Billy was getting the nosebleed. That's suggesting that there's some type of event, so some type of parallel universes that are being entangled. All right. Anyway, watch Paradise is amazing. Amazing. Can't wait to season 3, what they're going to do with season 3 and where they're going to take it with the quantum world that they've been pushing on. The other way to think about this, have you ever thought about someone and then they called you? Right? That's a quantum entanglement. Have you ever had the same thought as someone at the exact same time? Everybody like to call those coincidence, randomness. But again, you got the lesson today. There is some type of deeper communication going on, not just a verbal communication. And the point is, this is my final take before I go inside. The final point of this is, if we all come from one source, then how separate can we really be? If we all come from the one source, how separate can we really be? If everything originated from one source, how separate can any of us truly be? Every person is just a different expression of God. Separation is what this physical world makes us believe. But from a mature mind at a higher level, there's really no separation. This is why Christ consciousness teaches you to treat others the way you want to be treated. Because in a deeper sense, they are you. Tough concept, I know. Tough concept, especially in 2026 with the state of the comments that I get, emails from just the overall climate. How could all the things that are happening be from one source? If you understand the laws of polarity, right? A universal principle, the laws of polarity, they're going to be opposites. Don't get fooled out of this. The universe seeks balance. But at the end of the day, we all are from the same source. We're all one. Every interaction carries energy. And really today, what I was presenting, the quantum science, the world, it's really catching up to ancient spirituality that has been saying this from millions of years ago. We are not separate. We are one, in my Frankie Beverly voice. All right, that's the lesson, y'all. Talk to you later.